What up, everybody? What up, everybody? What up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of AC Reviews the World. I am your host, AC the Engineer, and we are at episode 68. Yep, episode 68. Like you know, this video is being pre-recorded. Hey, but because we can't miss an episode, so we got to keep going. We got a lot of things to talk about, like always. A lot of crazy things. The world is a crazy place. We always got to keep our head on a swivel, and we got to review the world together. We have to review the world together. We got some crazy stuff, some sad things to talk about. But we got to review it together. That's why I wanted to bring it to everybody, so we can review the world together. But you know how I like to do it? I like to jump right into it. Let's jump right into it. Like these pre-recorded stuff. We're going to go over 4 different topics. And some of them are some hard topics to talk about, but we got to discuss it. We have to discuss it. But let's get over into it. The first thing we're going to talk about today, the very first thing, children killing children. Well, no, hold on. No. That is a sad thing, but it's children assaulting. Can't give them anything. Assaulting, is that how you spell it? Children assaulting children. Yep. Children assaulting children. Young children. So we gotta get over into it. It's a sad world we live in. But let's get into it and see what we can learn from this situation. Main thing that I want to know is, like, where's the parents at? Because most of this has got to be a learned behavior. It has to be learned behavior. That's the only way to make sense of it. But let's get over into it and see what we can find out. Let's jump into it.
It's a real quiet, empty street for the most part. But it is a lot of kids that's down there on that other end. It's just disturbing to know that it's kids that's on my street that's young enough to know to do stuff like that.
I'm going to warn you, this is a tough one. This is, I don't know if we've seen anything like this to this degree. 9 and 10-year-old suspects, 5-year-old victim. Nadine Abusada from Scripps News Group has the story.
She a mini you.
Yeah. She literally will crack you up. Like, she's so proper, the way she talks, everything about her is just like bubbly.
When talking about her 5-year-old daughter, Antavia Kennebrew lights up.
She is very, very affectionate.
But sadly, that joyful spirit
It was horrible.
is broken.
The bubbly 5-year-old. And I know she was not there no more.
We're not naming the child or showing her face because she is a minor. But this horrific story begins on September 13th. Antavia says she left her 5-year-old daughter at a family member's house. Then she got a call. Her daughter was missing. When she arrived, the little girl was already in an ambulance.
I could not recognize my daughter. Her hair was ripped out of her head. She had blood and bruises all over her. Her nails was filled in dirt, and she was unresponsive.
Antavia says her daughter was taken to a wooded area where a group of children attacked her. The allegations, which include sexual assault, are too disturbing to share with you.
That is so evil.
Nah, hold on. Where do a 9 and 10-year-old think about sexual assault of a 5-year-old? It's learned behavior. What are the parents? The parents have to be, well, I mean, I guess it's got to be learned behavior. It has to be. What are your thoughts, y'all? Let's keep going.
Why? It's so evil.
News 5 reached out to Cleveland police regarding this incident.
What can you tell me about this investigation involving a 5-year-old allegedly being assaulted? It is an active investigation that the Cleveland Division of Police is conducting at this time.
In a statement, the department confirmed that the Sex Crimes and Child Abuse Unit is actively investigating a case involving multiple children under the age of 10, both as victims and as suspects.
And we have to protect the rights that the victims have, just as well as the suspects in these cases.
And Tavia says her daughter spent about a week in the hospital. The moment she opened her eyes,
She was screaming. When she woke up, she said they killed me. She thought she was dead.
the memories came flooding back.
To hear your baby say that she dead, what? A 5-year-old shouldn't even know that word. Like,
How is she now?
she's struggling mentally and behaviorally. She say things that she never said before. More violent, more suicidal things.
She says now her focus is on just two things: making sure her daughter heals and getting justice.
You posted about it. Why? Why did you want to speak out regarding what happened to your daughter?
Because I needed justice for my daughter.
So when you say justice, what does that look like?
Everybody involved in the pain that was inflicted on my daughter, they get what they deserve.
Prison time. But we got to be honest. 9 and 10, I don't think any place is going to give them prison time it's going to be probably the maximum to up to 21. The very maximum. But they got to serve some kind of prison time, some kind of punishment. Hopefully they can be rehabilitated. But at 9 and 10, should they know better? Let's keep going, y'all. Let's keep going.
This is, let me put up the charges. She didn't say what the charges were. Here's the charges against the 9 and 10-year-old. 1 count of attempted murder, 4 counts of rape, 2 counts of felonious assault, 1 count of kidnapping, 1 count of strangulation. Okay, Lori, what do we do with the 9?
We gotta bring that back, son. We have to bring that back. So here are the counts. 1 count of attempted murder, 4 counts of rape, 2 counts of felony assault, 1 count of kidnapping, and 1 count of strangulation. These are charges you would see with a grown person, a grown man. It's got to be taught by the parents. It's got to be. But let's keep going.
Count of strangulation. Okay, Lori, what do we do with the 9 and 10-year-old?
You want to talk to the lawyer or you want to talk to the mom? Because there are 2 different opinions going on in my side of my head right now. I mean, as a mom, I would like to bury these children. I would like to lock them away, and I would like to never see them again. As a lawyer, they are children. They would hopefully be able to be rehabilitated. So, I mean, it's juvenile court. They go into juvenile court and then hopefully get the treatment and help that they need. I have no words for this. This is the worst thing. You know, I keep saying this is the worst thing I've seen on my videos. I keep saying that, and then Satan comes in and moves the bar a little bit higher. And this is horrendous. There are no words for this. I don't know if you can rehabilitate kids like that. I would hope that you could. Defense attorney in me says let's try, but the mom in me says those kids need to be locked away in a mental institution at best for a very long time.
Yeah, I can see where the lawyers would want. Well, if you're thinking about a lawyer, yes, you would hope that the kids can be rehabilitated. But as a parent, if I was a parent, I can't imagine. I truly can't imagine. I'm saying leave them in jail for the rest of their lives. Well, see, since they didn't kill her, but at least they got to be in their jail for a long time. A long time, but let's keep going.
Yeah, I mean, I think they can only hold them until they're 21, Allie, in juvenile court. This thing's not getting waived up to adult court. 9 and 10 years old, not happening. Usually in Ohio, it's like 14 is the age. What do we do, Allie?
Yeah. You know, this first, I mean, I echo what everybody else is saying, thinking I can not think of anything more atrocious than what we've just heard and seen. But, you know, a case like this with perpetrators that are 9 and 10 years old puts the criminal justice system, the juvenile justice system in a really difficult position, right? You know, this is a terrible act of violence, sexual violence against a little girl. But we're also talking about two children themselves whose brains are not fully developed, and who, it kind of begs the question, what has been happening to these two children in their home or in their environment that they even know how to perpetrate or could even conceive of perpetrating these types of acts of violence? And so we've got 3 children here who are in crisis. My heart breaks for that mom, for this little girl who's never going to be the same. And at the same time, I have to think about the parents of the 2 children who perpetrated this kind of horrific violence on another child. What is going on? And the difficult part is going to be to hold them accountable for their violent acts, but also make sure that the best interests of all of these children are served. It's tough.
Carmen, obviously they won't be locked up for the rest of their lives. That's not going to happen. They're going to be out when they're very young. But my main concern is always safety. Safety first, the safety of the community. How can we ensure that the community will be safe from this 9 and 10-year-old for the next 50 years?
You know, Vinny, this case is fascinating because it's unbelievable, unimaginable, but it's also fascinating because they don't charge 9-year-olds generally in Ohio. If this offense occurred in Texas, there would be no charges because we don't charge children who are under 10 years old. But more importantly, you think about it, like, how do we establish competency for a 9-year-old and a 10-year-old? How do we hold them responsible? And does the juvenile justice system in any state, but in Ohio as well, have the ability to even handle this matter? And obviously everyone wants justice. They want help for these kids. They want to see some sort of consequences, rehabilitation, counseling, all the things. But can that happen inside this facility? And as we watch this, we're going to learn for the first time what you do with a 9-year-old who may or may not even know right from wrong, much less be able to establish competency to go forward and be heard on charges.
Yeah, I don't think, you know, the element of punishment here, you can talk about it, and I understand it from the mom's perspective, wanting justice. Then I'd look at the reality of it. We know that they're not going to be, we know that they're coming back into society. We know that they are damaged already. And I'm wondering if our system needs a little bit of a redo in how to do this and how to protect society at the same time that you are trying to some level of accountability, but and making them as, I'm not going to say better, because they're not going to be, I don't think this 9 and 10-year-old can be completely healed because there's something terribly wrong there, but get them to the point where they may be able to be with other people in society. This is so difficult. This is one that's, I think, stumps our system and stumps the host of the show tonight, Lori.
I think it's extremely difficult. And I was first looking at this story. You run the gamut of the emotions on it as an attorney, and what kind of system that we have that can take care of this. And you said a reboot to the system. I don't know that we have a system in place at all for dealing with this. And there are kids that are other kids that were involved in this that were younger that are not being charged.
Wow.
So those kids.
Wow. Yes, there was a group of them. Let's get over into this next video.
First here at 5 o'clock, attempted murder, rape, felonious assault, kidnapping, and strangulation of a 5-year-old. Those are the charges a 10-year-old faced today in court. Good evening, I'm Katie Usen.
And I'm Tara Morgan. News 5's Nadine Abusada was there for the arraignment. At this time, we are not showing or naming the children involved due to their age.
This type of behavior doesn't deserve grace. They knew what they were doing, and they was okay with that. They even play after not caring about my baby.
For the first time since Antavia Kennebrew says her 5-year-old daughter was assaulted in a field, she sat in the same courtroom as the 10-year-old girl accused of the attack.
Since this horrific act was done to her, she just been going through it. And that's how it should be for her offenders.
Today, Judge Kristen Sweeney arraigned the 10-year-old girl who appeared in juvenile court with a mask and hooded puffy coat.
This is going to be a very short hearing where I'm going to go over your rights with you.
She faces a list of charges including attempted murder, rape, felonious assault, kidnapping, and strangulation.
We have filed a competency motion as we do have significant concerns for her ability to understand the statutory language of the complaint as well as her legal rights in the proceedings today.
While the judge granted that motion, the prosecution asked that the 10-year-old be placed on house arrest with an ankle monitor.
They should not get grace or a break to return home and get prepared for their life to change, because not only did they been given enough time already, nothing prepared my baby for her life to be changed. She didn't get time.
The defense argued against the ankle monitor, referencing court Monday, where they said the child has faced threats at school, crowds at her home, and that the family has since moved for safety reasons.
If she is put on ankle monitor, that will become public knowledge, and if that is, and if someone figures out where she is living and they know that she is court ordered to be there, that could pose a potential safety risk to her and her family.
But Judge Sweeney ordered that house arrest and an ankle monitor are necessary.
One is the serious nature of these charges. Secondly, and I'm just going to note this for the record, we don't have a parent present in court today for MH. And so I am not sure what the living circumstances are outside of what was discussed in the closure hearing.
What you mean there's no parent at the courthouse? Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
So what's next? The 10-year-old girl will now undergo a competency evaluation, and there will be a hearing to follow. Now regarding the 9-year-old boy accused as well. He did not appear in court today due to a family member having car issues. His hearing was rescheduled to next week. Now, if he doesn't appear again, the judge will issue a warrant for his arrest. Reporting in Cleveland, Nadina Busada, News 5.
Now, as of this, we're not going to go over to another video with this, but it looks like that both suspects, I don't know why I said victims, the 9 and the 10-year-old have been made their court appearances, and they both have been placed on home detention with electronic monitoring devices. They got to be on home arrest. They got to have an ankle monitor on. It's just how serious these charges are. Let's recap one time before we end this section. These are the charges for the 9 and 10-year-old. And remember, there are more kids who can't be charged because they are too young. So we got attempted murder, 4 counts of rape, 2 counts of felony assault, kidnapping, and strangulation. Charges an adult should have. But we got they charging a 9 and 10-year-old with it. How much time do y'all think they'll get, y'all? Let's be honest about it. How much time? Think they're gonna get the full up to 21? Because we gotta understand that they probably most likely will not go up to adult court because they're just too young. I mean, it's just the simple fact about it. But do you think they will get the whole time up to 21 years? Up to their age 21. I would hope so, because they got to be punished. And it's a crazy situation where the parent is not even in the courtroom. The parents got to be charged too, or the guardians. As simple as that. The guardians have to be charged with something, because this, like I said, this is learned behavior. At least that's my feeling. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what y'all thinking, y'all. Let me know if y'all disagree with anything I said. This is a crazy case, absolute crazy. But we will keep up with it when they actually go through the trial. I hope the jury doesn't let these kids off just because they're young. Absolutely crazy, y'all. Like I said, let me know your thoughts. It's a crazy world we live in, y'all. It is a crazy world we live in. But let's pivot. We got to go over to father kills his son. What kind of world are we living in, y'all? What can drive a father to kill his own son? I mean, I guess I can think of some cases where he felt like his life was in danger, but let's get over into it. I think I saw somewhere where he shot him 12 times. This is the world, y'all. This is the world, but we got to review it together. We have to review it together. We got 2 videos to look at, so let's jump over into it and see what we can find out. See what we can find out. Absolutely crazy.
Breaking news out of Fulton County this morning, a shooting overnight in Buckhead.
Right now we know 1 man is dead. This happened at an apartment complex on Far Road in Buckhead. 11 Alive Stephanie Chaynock following this story live from the scene this morning. So Steph, we know 2 people at this point are being questioned. What are you learning?
Yeah, that's right, Jonathan and Aisha. The scene behind me here at this Buckhead apartment complex now clear. When we first got here, there was a large police presence. As far as those 2 people that police are questioning in connection to this deadly shooting, we're learning that they are the victim's father and also the victim's girlfriend. The man found dead, 32 years old. Here's a look at the scene earlier. The shooting happening around midnight in the parking lot of 55 Far Apartments here right off Peachtree Road. Atlanta police say there was some sort of an argument, dispute inside of an apartment here between a man and a woman who are in a relationship. The woman then called her boyfriend's father, who drove over to help de-escalate the situation. Police say there was a dispute between the father and the son in the parking lot when multiple shots went off, police finding the victim shot dead.
While on scene, one of the involved parties exited the residence. Officers heard gunshots. They responded outside and located a 32-year-old male suffering from multiple gunshot wounds, deceased outside.
So you telling me that the cops were there and they went outside and did this? Some cold people, man. Let's keep going.
And a neighbor here says she was actually sitting on her couch watching the news when she heard about 20 shots going off. She actually said she thought they were fireworks. We're still waiting to hear back from the medical examiner's office on the identity of that 32-year-old man. Live in Buckhead, I'm Stephanie Chaynock, 11 Alive.
So, all right. So we got the identity of them. So let's get over into this next video so we can learn more about this situation, because this is a wild situation. Let's get into it.
A man shot and killed by his father is struggling to understand how a family dispute turned deadly. Today, we got the mugshot of the man accused of killing his own son. Channel 2's Michael Seiden spoke with her. He's live in Buckhead after speaking to that victim's sister.
And Dee Clyburn told me that she agreed to speak with me because she doesn't want this tragedy to define her brother's life. Again, she is so shaken by what happened. We also want to tell you we've learned exclusively tonight that the victim's girlfriend, a Fulton County marshal, has actually been placed on paid administrative leave pending the outcome of an APD investigation.
I wouldn't have ever imagined, not in 100 years, would I have thought that this was the phone call I was getting.
Dee Clyburn says she still can't process what she's been told, that her older brother, 32-year-old Durante Schofield, was shot and killed by their own father. On Friday, Clyburn spoke with us by phone, fighting back tears as she described the shock and heartbreak.
That's my big brother, and I will never be able to call him again.
Clyburn says Schofield was the proud father of 2 young children, an entrepreneur who worked as an independent contractor in Metro Atlanta, and a family man who loved being a dad, a brother, and a creative spirit.
He cared genuinely and deeply about people. He was a passionate person.
Earlier in the day, a judge denied bond for their father, 54-year-old Durante Rhodes Tolliver. Investigators say he drove to the 55 Far Apartments in Buckhead after learning his son had been involved in a car crash. According to an affidavit, he and his son began fighting inside the apartment, but when officers arrived, they say both men appeared calm and walked out together. Once they got to the parking lot, the argument started again. Investigators say the father told police he believed his son reached towards his waistband as if he had a gun, so he fired at least 12 shots. Police say they searched Schofield's body, but he did not have a gun.
Just remember him as being a lover and a giver, a helper.
And Dee told me that although her brother was a convicted felon, he had really gotten his life together. He was making positive changes and really having a positive influence on his friends and family. Now, the family obviously is going to need some help with the funeral arrangements. They've launched a GoFundMe page. We've got all the details posted on our webpage right now, WSBTV.com. For now, we're live in Buckhead. Michael Seiden, Channel 2 Action News.
Justice for absolutely crazy, y'all. Absolutely crazy. Let's go over. Let's get into an article about this. It's a crazy situation. But let's look into it and see what else we can find out about it. This is wild. This is wild. But let's jump over into it. Zoom in some so everybody can see. So, officers responded to a 911 call at an apartment complex on Fair Road shortly after midnight and found a couple arguing inside of one unit. Police said the girlfriend had called her boyfriend's father, 54-year-old Durante Trover, I'm not how to say his name, for help during the dispute. While officers were inside of the apartment interviewing the girlfriend, Trover was outside with his 32-year-old son. Police officers said they heard gunshots from the parking lot and rushed outside to find the son dead from multiple gunshot wounds. Police detained the father at the scene for questioning. He faces charges of murder, aggravated assault, and possession of a firearm during a felony. Neighbors in the area said that they heard gunshots. At first, I thought it was fireworks. Yeah, so we understand this part. See if there's anything else. Man shot girlfriend. Nope, that's not the one. Oh, there it is. Let's see. A Georgia father arguing with his adult son over slamming. Oh, this gets us more detail. So, a Georgia father arguing with his adult son over his slamming of a car door in a fight the victim was having with his girlfriend shot. Let's see. Oh, that's fine. Yep. So, slamming a car door in a fight with his girlfriend shot the 32-year-old a dozen times, the police say. So he's charged with murder for fatally shooting his son, Durante Schofield, last week at Buckhead Apartments. Authorities told the outlets that Schofield crashed his SUV into the side of a building late Wednesday night and then called his girlfriend for help. She allegedly phoned the police and made an anonymous tip about the crash, then drove Schofield back to his apartment. The couple began arguing once they got inside, and the woman called the father over to calm him down. The police were called to the building around 12:22 a.m. and were speaking with the girlfriend when the father showed up to speak to the son. So cops said that the father and son appeared calm, walked outside of the apartment. Once in the parking lot, however, they began arguing after he slammed the car door. The dispute escalated and Trover opened fire on his son, telling cops he believed that Schofield was reaching towards his waistband as if he had a gun. According to authorities, the son was allegedly searched after the shooting and had no firearm on him. He was shot 12 times. 12 times. I wouldn't have ever imagined, not in 100 years. Oh, that's his sister. So we already heard that. So it sounds like, so here, look at this part. He said that authorities told the outlets that he crashed his SUV into the building late Wednesday night, then called his girlfriend for help. So it sounds like the son was intoxicated, overly intoxicated. He called the girlfriend for help. You know how intoxicated people get? They start arguing, getting mad. And then the girlfriend called the father to calm him down because he was overly intoxicated. They try to be calm. They go outside. Son's still overly intoxicated. Slams the car door too hard. They get into an argument. The fight breaks out, but the son, I guess the father doesn't want to fight. Or he thinks he has a gun. I don't know if that's real or not, but... And then the father shoots him 12 times. 12 times, killing his son. It's a crazy situation, y'all. It's a very crazy situation. Let me know. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? He's got to face the consequences of his action no matter what. He's got to face the consequences of his actions no matter what. But do you think that he was actually a threat? Or was it just... Or did he just didn't want to fight? Tussle with him. Absolutely crazy, y'all. But the son didn't have a weapon no matter what, so he's gonna be in jail over killing his own son. It's a cold case. But let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said. It's a crazy world, but we got to review it together, y'all. We have to review it together. We're going to pivot now. We're going to pivot now into so we got a 1962 cold case has been solved. 1962. Over 60 years they've been looking for the killer. Finally was able to find it. So let's get over into it. We got two videos to look at. So let's see what we can find out about this situation. It's a crazy case, absolutely crazy. But we got, like I always say, we got to review the world together. Y'all, let's get into it.
Justice for a 9-year-old little girl after more than 63 years. Today, the Bucks County District Attorney announced that a grand jury investigation identified William Schrader as the person who raped and killed Carol Ann Doherty inside a Bristol church back in October of 1962.
Though nothing can bring Carol back, we can finally let her rest in peace, knowing that her story has been told, her truth revealed, and her memory honored.
Well, Kelly, Schrader died back in 2002, but what led to this major development today?
Well, Jason, many things. They say it was a combination of reviewing decades-old evidence, forensic evidence, and recently an interview with the Schrader's stepson where he revealed Schrader confessed that he murdered a little girl in a Pennsylvania church twice. I can tell you investigators spent many, many years working to solve this case.
This finding finally brings closure and a truth to a wound that never healed.
For Carol Ann Doherty's only surviving immediate family member, her younger sister Kay, closure after more than 63 years.
My family finally has the truth that we have sought for 6 decades.
Today, the Bucks County District Attorney identified William Schrader, who died in 2002, as the man responsible for raping and killing 9-year-old Carol Ann Doherty inside St. Mark's Church in Bristol back on October 22nd, 1962. He lived about a block and a half from the church. The DA's office says Carol Ann biked to the library to meet friends and was last seen alive outside the church doors. When she didn't come home for dinner, her parents looked for her father finding her body.
Oh.
She took her final breath in that choir loft of the church that was so sacred to her and to her family.
Wow, absolutely crazy, y'all. You heard? He lived a block away from the church. 6 decades. I gotta remember. They said he died in 2002, so he didn't face any punishment unless you believe in God and you think you know where he felt punishment after his life was ended, but. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely. And the father finds I never wish that on any father, but let's keep going.
The DA says Schrader was questioned by police after the crime, provided a pubic hair sample, and was found to have lied about his alibi. But as investigators honed in on 3 other suspects, Schrader fled south, eventually settling in Louisiana, where the DA says they now know he continued a pattern of violence against his own family members.
We know that William Schrader's history of sexually violating little girls, it's the likes I have never seen as a career child abuse prosecutor.
The DA says in 1993, 141 samples of pubic hair were tested, collected from men over the decades, and all of them were eliminated except William Schrader's, but it wasn't enough. Investigators tried to test evidence from the case to build a DNA profile, but were unsuccessful. DA Shorn says in that process, investigators became laser focused on what they did have, and it led to a recent interview with Schrader's stepson, who revealed Schrader confessed to the murder of a little girl in a Pennsylvania church on 2 separate occasions. They presented their decades-long investigation to a grand jury who formally found Schrader committed the crimes.
The work that was done to keep this alive was nothing short of remarkable.
It was a shroud of the town. Nobody could go outside. Everybody was heartbroken over it.
Radio personality Mike Missinelli, a cousin of the Bristol police chief at the time of the crime, launched a podcast last year on the case with the goal Kay and investigators like his cousin, who since passed away, could finally get closure.
I think he's really happy. I think he's smiling up there.
We can finally let her rest in peace, knowing that her story has been told, her truth revealed, and her memory honored.
And the DA said today that grand jury investigation included reviewing and eliminating those initial prominent suspects, which did include a reverend at the church at the time. Sheba.
Absolutely crazy. I am happy that someone was actually keeping up with this case. 62 years, that's a lot of time for stuff to fall through the cracks. People not even think about it anymore. Wow, let's keep going. We got one more video to look at.
We begin this half hour with the conclusion of a cold case murder more than 60 years old. This week, prosecutors in Pennsylvania said they now know who killed a 9-year-old girl in a church back in 1962. We first brought you this story last year when a local Philadelphia sportscaster with a connection to the case helped to rekindle the investigation. On an October evening in 1962, Carol Ann Doherty was murdered in a Catholic church in Bristol, Pennsylvania. Her body was found by her father under a stained glass window in the choir loft.
I was standing on that part. My brother was at the end of the yard, and we were throwing a football, and my mother came out of that side door, racing down the steps to get to right there, so to get us into the house.
Wow. Mike Missinelli, a well-known Philadelphia sportscaster, was 7 years old at the time and lived nearby. His uncle was the town's police chief.
He called my mother to say, something bad happened in this church, get the children in the house, because he didn't know if the murderer was in my neighborhood.
The case haunted Missinelli for decades. Last year, he launched a podcast, The Coldest Murder, in hopes something new might shake loose.
Before killing the kid out of cold blood, committing murder like that, no.
The fresh attention led to new DNA testing from the crime scene. And this week, prosecutors announced they have identified the killer as William Schrader, a man with a long criminal history who fled to Louisiana after the murder. A relative told investigators Schrader confessed to the murder on 2 separate occasions. Schrader was one of 2 suspects Missinelli zeroed in on in his podcast.
They had been investigating this for years, and the little part I played was just to keep it alive, keep it in the mind's eye.
For Missinelli, knowing who killed Carol Ann Doherty closes a more than 60-year chapter in his life. In the end, again, why was it so important for you? This wasn't a family member. Why was it so important to you to try to
I think that
get this
Dana,
solved?
everybody who grew up in Bristol at that time was a family member. Not literally, but you know, the shroud that it put over the town, and if you lived with it, you lived with it for so many years.
Absolutely crazy case, y'all. But it's finally got closure. Finally got closure after 63 years. There are some sick people in this world. He immediately fled after the case to Louisiana. The suspect, if you're thinking that is the killer and he flees, you already know that should be your number 1 suspect. At least that's my thinking. But I wonder why the stepson just now or only mentioned this when the police interviewed him. I'm assuming maybe he just heard it and just put it in the back of his mind, didn't think anything of it. Absolutely crazy. But he died back in 2002, so he got his punishment after he died, if that's what you believe. But this is a crazy case, y'all. Let me know your thoughts on it. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said. It's just absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. We got to review the world together, y'all. We have to review the world together. Keep your head on a swivel. Look after your kids. Look after your wives. Look after your family. Look after your community. It's the only thing we can do. Absolutely crazy, y'all. Let me know your thoughts. We're going to pivot over into the last thing we're going to talk about today. Another reason I'm not going to Australia. Another reason, y'all. The Lucifer bee has been found. A new discovery. The Lucifer bee. We got 2 videos to look at, so let's get over into it. The Lucifer bee. Wow. All it's telling me is that they don't want me to come to Australia. That's all it's telling me. That is all it is telling me. They was like, yeah, AC, just stay away. Just stay away. This place ain't for you. This place ain't for you. But let's get over into it.
A new species of bee with devil-like horns, named Megachile lucifer, was discovered in Western Australia by Curtin University researchers. The bee was found while surveying a critically endangered wildflower in 2019, and DNA analysts confirmed it did not match any known species of bee. This is the first new member of this bee group described in over 20 years, highlighting how much biodiversity remains undiscovered. The researcher emphasized the importance of documenting native bees, especially in areas threatened by climate change and mining, to protect both the insects and the plants they pollinate, CBS News has reported. The discovery was published in the Journal of Research and coincides with Australia's Pollinator Week, which underscores the vital role of bees in ecosystems.
Lucifer bee. I can't even say the full name, but let's get over into a longer video so we can learn a little bit more about it. Bye.
An Australian scientist has discovered a new native bee species with tiny horns, appropriately naming it Megachile lucifer. Well, the bee was found while observing a rare wildflower which only grows in Western Australia's Goldfields region. The horns are only present on the female bee and may be used as a defence mechanism or to gather pollen or nectar. Well, to get more on that, let's speak to Dr. Kit Prendergast, a native bee ecologist and an adjunct professor at Curtin University. She was the scientist who actually discovered the bee. Well, welcome to BBC News. Big story, big discovery. Just tell us how you ended up finding a new species of bee. I mean, haven't they all been found?
So, tragically, or maybe excitingly, there are so many undescribed bee species in the world, but also in Australia. You'd think that we'd have a pretty good handle on our native bee biodiversity, but we don't. There's about 1,700 described species, but we estimate there's about 500 undescribed species. That is the number of mammal species in Australia. So huge amount of work to be done, but also an exciting time for discoveries. I've done lots of native bee surveys where I found species that are undescribed, but this one caught my eye, and it's the second new species I've described. The first one I called Leoproctus zephyr. Zephyr is my dog, so I like having a bit of fun with the names of new species.
Let's talk about that because we're looking.
Now it is a bee, so I'm thinking what I know about bees are relatively harmless, but I might be wrong, so tell me if I'm wrong. But the name Lucifer just makes it where I don't want to go near it. And then Australia in general has so many crazy animals that I watch a lot of documentaries and stuff like that. So some of them things out there look like spiders, especially. Some things I'm just not. I just don't want to see. They'll just pop up in your house. Big. Let's keep going though. Let's keep going.
At the screen, we can see those little horns on the bee. I think we can hopefully show that picture again so you can see the little horns. So tell us about the name Lucifer and a little bit more about why you ended up choosing that.
Yeah, so when you describe a new species, you get to decide the name. And Megachile lucifer, the females have these devil-like horns. And I thought Lucifer, in consultation with my co-author, was the perfect name for this devilish bee. The other reason why we chose Lucifer rather than, devil or horny or something like that was so species names are in Latin, and Lucifer actually means light bringer. So I'd hoped that by describing this new species, I could also bring to light the issues facing native bees, such as under-recognition, many undescribed species, many species that aren't protected, areas that haven't been surveyed, and needing to protect and conserve our native bees in the face of things like habitat loss due to mining or agriculture. And I must say, I also really love the Netflix show Lucifer. So Tom Ellis, if you're watching this, I hope you're really pleased with having a Megachile lucifer.
Yeah.
I will say I do like the show Lucifer too. It's very good. I just like just thinking about all the different aspects of that show was very good. But let's keep going.
That's quite cool to be named, have a bee named after you. Just remember that next time you name a bee. I'd quite like one named after me. How significant is this discovery, Kit?
So I think it's, any new species discovery and description is significant because without having a name and a formal description, that species would just go under the radar. It won't be able to be studied. It won't be able to be listed for protection. And so giving a name to a species is, the first step in ensuring it's documented, it's conserved, and it's part of our understanding of the amazing diversity that has evolved on this planet.
Just very briefly, Kit, do you think there's enough backing to protect native bee species?
There definitely needs to be more funding and more investment. And No, I love native bees so much. I've dedicated my life to them. I have tattoos of them. And I am now creating in my, spare time, Australian native bee conservation strategy. I've been working hard at this, consulting with my colleagues, both in Australia as well as overseas, including in the UK. Simon Potts is an amazing bee researcher and putting together a science-based evidence-based Australian native bee conservation strategy so that we have a unifying framework to protect our native bees. Of course, we need funding, but we also need people on the ground arming them with the right knowledge so that they can conserve native bees. And, the number one thing for conserving native bees is protecting native habitat.
Well, Kit, I think that's my favourite story of the day. Thank you.
Absolutely wild, y'all. Absolutely wild. She is correct. There's a lot of interesting things out there in the world that we haven't discovered yet. We got to have scientists and people who go out there to find these new things, because some of them could hold the cures to some of the worst diseases. I'm not built for it. I've picked my career that I'm built for, engineering, but some people are, and I praise them for doing the work. Because the more new discoveries we have, different plants, different animals, could lead to new medical advantages and different things that just saves a lot of people. Absolutely crazy, y'all. Let me know your thoughts on that situation, or let me know your thoughts on that new discovery. The Lucifer bee. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. But that is it for the show today. Remember, y'all, this is AC Reviews the World, and I'm your host, AC the Engineer. Thank you for watching now. Thank you for watching later. Remember to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you can be up to date on all the videos that I'm dropping. We got to review the world together, y'all. We got to review the world together. And remember, I'm thinking in December, so it's pretty much most likely going to be a fact, but in December, starting in December, I'm going to start streaming Monday through Friday, 6 to 7. 6 to 7. Usually 4 topics, somewhere between 45 to an hour. We'll go over 4 topics that happened that day. 4 news topics that we need to review the world together about. And maybe things that updates and stuff like that. But absolutely crazy, y'all. Let me know your thoughts on any of the things we talked about. If you disagree with anything I said, let's leave a comment. Let's talk about it. It's a crazy world, y'all, but we got to review the world together. But you already know I got to play the outro, and these videos will be broken down. But that's it for now. Peace.